Hello, everybody. We got one person here. Just going to share this to my page quickly. Share it around. Hope you're all having a good Tuesday afternoon. Let's just share this. Shall I? Down. Hi. I'll be with you. I'm just sharing this around to all the... Hey, Will. How are you, mate? It's good to see you. I thought it was juvenile justice, but DVS, yeah. All right. Let's just share this around. Hope you're well, mate. Share in a group. All right. I want to share to a group. All right. One more and I'm ready to go. They really should automate this stuff. Hey, Jake, Natalie, Ollie, if you're watching. Right, g'day. I'm Rob Rhodes. Going to take you through my live rig. I'm going to turn off this camera. And I'm going to go to the full image. Right. Yeah, g'day. Thanks for joining me. I am going to take you on a little walkthrough of my live streaming rig. Everything from where it starts with my voice and my guitar right through to the end product that gets posted on Facebook. So, where to start? If you've got any questions, make sure you chuck them in and I will. I'm so used to talking in we's instead of I's. But I will do my best to answer any questions that you might have. And we'll see how it goes. So I've got a few notes. I'm just going to start with the signal chain. So where it starts with me is over on here. I'm going to turn this screen off. I'm going to take my microphone and my keyboard. I'm going to switch to... This should work if I've set it up right. There we go. Hope you can still hear me. I'm going to move this chair out of the way. A few of us have the same chair. I have noticed. All right. We've got 11 here. That's good. That's a good start. The beauty of this is it's there forever, and if you want to go back to it, you can. So I'm just going to move quickly through the guitar side of things. And if you've got any questions, we'll come back to those. Sorry, I think that's probably a bit too loud, my voice. Right, so guitar-wise, 2 acoustics, Mini Maton EMM6. I string these up with 13s. Depending on where my monitors are, I also use one of these little guys, which is a feedback buster. Just goes in the sound hole. Right, we all know what they are. My backup acoustic is the Mini Maton EMD6, which is the diesel signature model. This is 11 years old or something now, and as you can see, she's a little bit worn, and there's a big crack. I cracked the soundboard, but I managed to kind of fix it. It's still a little bit there, but yeah, great little live guitars. Yeah, small footprint, fit 2 in a case. Brilliant. All right, probably my newest acquisition. I think it's a 2010 Gibson Special double cut, block yellow color, P90s, beautiful guitar. Right, this is a 2006 Epiphone Japan Special. Hardly got anything left on the headstock, but again, just a beautiful guitar. Really simple. They call them slabs because that's all it is. Slab of mahogany, 2 P90s, just like the originals. I'm big on my Japanese stuff. I love them. I think they make some great guitars. This is my Bacchus, if you can see that. But Bacchus make a few brands like Navigator, Divisor, etc. This is a 58 gold top kind of reissue, whatever you want to call it, copy. It's a classic series, so only made them for 2 years. It weighs a ton, and I currently have Mick Briley pickups in that. This has been my go-to lately. 2006 Gibson Nashville ES335. Still a broken string from Sunday. Look, how lazy. I haven't fixed them yet. Classic 57 humbuckers. Semi-hollow. Can't get any better than that. Beautiful guitar. Took a long time to settle in, but it's settled in now, and I just love it. All the Gibsons I string up with 11s to 49s. A bit heavier gauge because of the shorter scale. But who knows, I might go back to 10s. This is a beast. This is kind of like my stunt guitar, rock guitar, whatever you want to call it. Floyd Rose Tremolo. It is essentially a Washburn Nuno Betancourt signature model N4, but it's a custom build from parts from the custom shop after the custom shop closed. So it's not technically all the parts are made by Washburn, but it was assembled at Funky Monkey Music in Arkansas. And instead of it being like $3,000 plus, it was delivered for $900 Australian. So I love it. It's not perfect. It's got problems, but PAF Pro humbuckers by Damasio, coil tap. I just love playing this guitar. My Strat, some of you would have seen 2 weeks ago on the live stream. Look, this is a Bitzer 2 Richie Kotzen neck. So nice, big and fat, chunky. Got locking tuners on the back, which I've added. This is a sort of a culmination of time. I started with the neck. It had a John Mayer body, Texas Special pickups. Then I changed that body to a made in Japan ash body with a Mary Kay finish. And then I swapped my old Ibanez 84 Roadster 2 for a Roland VG Strat, which didn't have an original neck. So I really like the pickups in this. They're just the American standards of the time when this is the first generation of VG Strat, but I don't use any of the electronics really in it. But in case you're wondering, it can do drop D. It's got the Roland pickup. I don't know if you can see that. It's got a Roland VG pickup in there. You can do a drop D, open G, open D, or dadgad, I think it is. Then it's got baritone and also faux 12 string. And then if you're having trouble with the pickups, the noise, you can switch to virtual guitars in this. So a virtual Strat, a virtual Telly, a virtual hollow body, and a virtual acoustic. Again, like there's a lot of electronics in there. You can see takes 4 batteries, AA batteries to run all the electronics. Again, I don't use it. It adds extra weight and it sounds fantastic the way it is. Strats 10 to 52s on my Fenders. And this, I've wanted one of these for so long. And I waited and I waited and I waited and I finally found one. This is a 1990 Greco, so another Japanese. Firebird. Mini humbuckers, the original in the neck, and a Seymour Duncan in the bridge. Got to keep looking at the right cameras. Beautiful guitar, kind of uncomfortable and takes a bit to get used to if you don't start the night on it. You switch from something else, there's a little bit of a adjustment period because you're all the way out here. This is kind of where you play it. It's the perfect kind of, because of where the strap goes, the neck ends up out here. But that's a beautiful guitar. Some of you would have seen it on my live streams. Okay, I'm going to take this microphone and I'm going to move cameras. So I'm just switching cameras with this wireless Apple keyboard at the moment. So let's see if I can work this one out. If I turn that off and that one on. All right, look at me. I'm working here. All right, I'm not too old to get down on my knees. Pedalboard wise, what I'm using, starting the signal chain comes into the tuner, which is, I'm really yelling into that, sorry. TC Electronics Polytune. It runs out of there into this RMC wah, Wheels of Fire wah. It goes out of the wah into the Digitech Whammy 5, which I use for choruses, whammy stuff. You would have heard some of that on Black Night on Sunday. Also use it for octave effects, doubling below and high, try and get those mandolin sounds. I don't really use the harmonizer inside it, but that's pretty much it. Octaves, I use it like my OC2, which is a octave down effect. All right, it runs out of there, I believe, into a splitter, which, it goes into the EP booster first, this Exotic Effects EP booster. Then the split happens from there underneath the pedal board, and that goes to one side of the split goes to my talk box, which then keeps my guitar rig running and live. The other split goes into the microflanger, into the Supro harmonic tremolo, and then the Fender Lost Highway phaser, which is a 2-channel phaser. You can set up 2 speeds. Into my overdrives, which is a Klon KTR here, which these are, for a little while they started to get collectible, and then he started to make them again. Into a Wampler Tumnus, which is the copy of this pedal by Wampler. And then, depending on the gig, if I'm doing an acoustic gig, then it'll run into my delay. From the delay into my looper, and the looper into the DI, which is a Radial Pro 48 active DI. I also have this switch, which helps me with a few extra functions within the loop station, which is an RC30 by Boss. And then this little guy here is my secret weapon. It's attached to my delay, so I can always have my delay on, and I can just blend in little or lots or whatever I need. And finally, this thing switches my amplifier. So, yeah, that's pretty much my pedal rig. And if I just turn this camera to there, you'll see this is my MI amplification or MI audio Iron Duke. It's a 50-watt 4-channel head. Basically sounds great quiet and even better loud. But yeah, that's the rig. It goes into 2 112s. Maybe I can pull this camera back and you can see that. 2 single 12 cabinets. One is running a Celestian Redback 150-watt driver, 12-inch driver. And the other one is using a Creamback 75-watt driver. And then I'm just miking it up. There's no cabinet simulators or anything. I'm just miking it up with a Shure Beta 56. That is my guitar rig. Now, just bear with me for a second. I'll get this camera out of the way. Get my chair back in. All right. Next, we are moving along the signal chain to my mixer, which will bring everything in. So let me turn off. I'm going to turn off that camera, and I'm going to go to the mixer. Oh, look at that. All right, so you'll see here, and I will try and point things out, and hopefully you can still hear my voice. Need something longer. Let's not go there. All right. I'm just going to take this. So this is just what I'm talking to you through now in this channel. So it's just dry for speech, but my vocal comes in here. On Sunday, Justin's vocal would have come in there. I got my acoustic plugged in here, and my electric goes into there. So this is Soundcraft UE24R. It's a digital mixer, so it can be controlled by my iPad. It's got all the effects and equalizers built in digitally and runs off my iPad. So I'll show you my... What? Somebody said can't see the mixer. Okay, there's the mixer. Should be there now. Oh, it's going to be a bit glitchy. This is my first. I didn't really do any practice runs. I just got all the cameras working. Right. Yeah, there's the feed. I can see the feed. All right. So let's start again. This is the Soundcraft UE24R. It's a digital mixer. It has 2 main outs. It has 8 auxiliary outs, and you can patch them any way you want. It's a 24 channel, if you want to say that, but really there's 20 ins. Right, so going from left to right, you've got my vocal mic that I'm talking into now. No effects. All the low end taken off, so hopefully you're not going boop, boop, boop all the time. Right, my vocal comes in here, my acoustic comes in there, my electric goes in there. Now Justin's vocal would usually go in here and his keyboard's down there. And then these are the 2 main outs. They are going to my monitors in the room. So if I can maybe swing around to that. Let's see if I can do this. This back. Ba-boom. Right, let's switch to this camera. Right, so these Yamahas here, I have 2 of those in the room, and they are running off that mixer, and that's my left and right main outs. I'm sending the mix that's going to you guys online to those so I can monitor them. Even though it's not perfect for that. I know that if my vocals are a little bit back, that's okay. It'll go hotter online. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to take that camera away now, I think. Right, so back on the mixer. This camera. So many things to move around. Right, so these 2 I have patched. So they are patched to be the main outs. So any of these you can patch to do anything you want. They can be, you can patch submixers to them or whatever. But mostly they're just auxiliary sends, so vocal monitors. In the live situation, we would have 4 auxiliary sends for 4 vocals and on stage. But at the moment, I've got them patched to mirror these ones here. So the same thing that's being sent to the internet, to my sound card and to my Facebook live streams is being sent to my speakers in the room that I showed you. The final thing here is the inputs in the little RCAs here. That is how I'm sending my tracks to you. So I messed around a little bit with the USB here. You can plug in a USB and play tracks from there. But in the first couple, it it was very glitchy and it kept crashing. So I looked for an alternative, and the alternative was my iPad and iTunes. So if you see here, I don't know if you can see that. I won't flare it, but that's basically it was our set list from Sunday, and I'll just play those songs. That's our set, and I would just play that off. That would get plugged into, that just runs into here, into these, with your standard little 1/8 input headphone jack out of there. And then I would mix everything that's coming in. So before we're even getting to the sound card and Facebook, it's all being mixed. And it's all being mixed here. You can see that. So that's my virtual mixer. A lot of mixers are doing that now. But that's pretty much what I've been using almost 2 years now live. And I just integrated my live setup into my live streaming setup. Just for the ease of use, I knew it would sound good. I knew that I could compress it before it got to the computer. I knew that I could get the effects, all those little things, EQ, levels, whatever. I knew that I could all control it centrally through the mixer. So that's why I'm using a mixer beforehand. Just the familiarity, really. If you've got a piece of gear that you know, use it. That's my advice. All right, so now we're going to come out of the mixer and we're going to move into, let's see if I can seamlessly do this one too. Got to keep moving cameras. All right, let's try this one. All right, let's zoom in here. Right, so it's coming out of the mixer, and you can see my voice coming in there. And those two left and rights out of the mixer are coming into my sound card. Now, my sound card is the Focusrite Sapphire 18i8. So it's got 8 ins. Essentially, I'm just using the 2. So it's coming into here. Now, I could run a USB cord straight out of that mixer if I needed to, straight out of the Soundcraft, and that could act as my sound card. But I just wanted to keep it, I didn't want to rely on it for all the audio. So I wanted to space it out, and just so I didn't know when the gigs were going to come back. I didn't want to get it tied down. So this just allows me to take it and go without messing with my computer audio sound or my live rig. So yeah, for the reason I'm going into there. So this is the interface. This is bringing all of the audio, my vocals, my guitars, the tracks, everything is being fed into the computer through this. Now, alternatives to that are obviously any mixer that you have with the USB out, you could use as an audio interface. Some guitar players out there might have some vocal pedals, like a Voice Live, or one of the Boss ones. It has a USB out too and can be used as an interface. So you could feed your vocal and your guitar through that and then plug that into the computer via USB. That can be your interface. So there's a few options. If you're using a smartphone, there's some options too. And let's see if I can pull them up now. Getting tricky here. Hey, Doug. Oh, my wife's on. Hello. Hey, Judy. Licia. Thank you. Shana. They are active speakers, Shana. They're Yamaha DBR15s. They were just a good choice for me in here because they've got plenty of bottom end with the 15s, and I felt like the drums were in here. I really like a lot of low end when I'm performing. I'm a very rhythmic player, more so than a lead player. So being able to hear the kick and feel the kick, that was really important to me. I can see the questions now that I've switched over. There's a chair in there. All right, let's just see if there's anything I can quickly answer from where we've gone. Cheers, could not see him. Okay, question from Molly. Wondering how I can connect my Samsung phone for video and computer for audio. So that, okay, cool. All right, so we'll get to that. We'll do that right now. So, as I said, to circle back, this is how I'm getting the audio into my computer via a USB interface. That is my sound card. That is feeding my monitor speakers, feeds my headphones, everything. And that's also being used for something else that we'll get to later. All right, let's see if I can get my display capture. The other options. All right, I hope you can all see that. Let me double check that you can see that. All right, I need to get rid of this camera. Hold on. And let's get rid of this camera. All right, so here's just a few options for anybody who wants to record the audio from a different source and go to their phone or tablet or laptop. So these are just USB powered. Some of them might have a little wall wart that you need. But there's the Zoom U22. As you can see on there, it's USB out. It's got a line in, mic ins, high Z, and phone. Okay, so that's one option, Zoom. I think they're about $100. You've got the iRig, which is a favorite of everybody's. Some great little plug-in software to get sound. But the iRig 2, you've got headphones, guitar in. There's a couple of other options with iRig where you can plug in a microphone, I believe. And it's got a mounting slot. So that's a great little option. The other one is the Rode SC6L. Again, it's got the inputs that you need, and it connects. There's an Apple one, and I believe there's an Android one as well. I hope that that answers your question, Molly. So you can run your audio in there. Let's go back to that question and double check. Turn that off. All right, I'm jumping about here. So how to connect the Samsung phone for video and the computer for audio. Okay, so we'll do that shortly. Who else? So is it going to lockdown mic or not? And pub with no fear. Let's have a look. Technology. Someone might have needed to approve it to go live. Okay, for some reason it's not there. I don't know why. Let's try again. Sorry guys, I'm just going to try and share this to the pub with no fear again. Share in a group. If you miss it, we can just go back later and we'll deal with it then. All right. Yeah, well, okay. Right. Next, we're at the sound card. We're going into the computer. Okay, so once you've got your sound into the, however you're doing that, getting it into your phone, into your iPad, into your computer, then the next thing you need to do is capture that sound. Okay, so the way we're going to capture that sound, I'm going to turn the full screen off and I'm going to bring this back up and display capture, boom. All right, this is what you need. You need OBS Studio. There are some other options, some paid options, but from what I've tried so far, this has been the most stable of all the free ones. So there is StreamYard OBS, which is great if you have a PC, but they haven't quite got the Mac version correct. So you download OBS Studio for Windows or Mac and install that. And what you will find is if I go off of this, turn that off, this that we're... Right, so I'm going to share my screen now, full screen, and you're going to see OBS. Okay, so the infinite window thing is really quite annoying, but you'll get the idea. So this is your workflow and your workspace for OBS. Yes? I don't know. It's streaming. Yeah, it's still streaming. All right, so interruptions. This is what happens when you go live. Apparently it's paused out there or frozen. I'm not sure what's happening. But hopefully you're getting this. Right, you don't need to see that. Let's go back to OBS. Right, so what you're seeing here, I have scenes built. So in this window there's two ways you can do it. You can build multiple scenes, and I'll show you that later. Or you can build a single scene with multiple cameras. So you're feeding your audio in here. This is the audio capture. Okay, so what I've highlighted there is input audio capture. So when you click on that, you'll get a list of... So first of all, what you need to do is add an audio capture. So you're going to add an input capture. Name it whatever you want. Name it your sound card, name it your phone, whatever it's going to be. Name that. I've already got my input capture in there, so I don't need to do it. So here it is. Okay, so when I open that, you get, there's my Scarlett 1880, but you've got a couple of options. You've got your inbuilt microphone for your computer, which is most likely would be the default, and any other cameras that have microphones that it's picking up. So I want my sound card. If you're using an iRig or any of those things, then you'll want to select that. Okay, so that's, Molly, that's where you bring your audio into OBS. Now you want to bring your video in from your phone. So this is very simple as well. It's the same. So click the plus and add video capture device. Okay, you can see all the video capture devices I have in there already. The GoPro, iMac, my full screen iMac, iPhone 6S and an XR. So all of those cameras are being fed into OBS, and they are being fed with a piece of software or an app on the phone called NDI. So there's a free one called NDI HX and it works great. There is a paid one called NDI Cam. It's about $15. I use that one because there's no watermark and there's a few extra settings in there that help you just get the best result. When you move those in, you'll see, bang, okay, there it is. So let's work. I don't need that. Right. I'm going to delete that because I don't need that. Right, so once you've got them in there, here's my scene, okay? I've got an image coming in, which is this bottom little text thing. I've got a full screen so that I can put myself to full screen like that and talk to you with not just in the corner. I've got my iMac, which is just my little one here. I've got the iPhone 6, which was the one that's pointed at the sound card. I've got the GoPro, which is a fake GoPro. It's by 8man, and it is going to my mixer. And then I've got the XR, which was showing you my guitars and stuff. That's the iPhone 10. And then I've got the display capture, which is showing you what I'm seeing. And then my audio input, which we've seen. Okay, so then you move over to the audio mixer. Here you can see what's coming in. The way that I run it is I'm continually running it in the red here. It seems to be okay. When I was running it up to the red, some people were saying it was a bit quiet. So I'm running that well and truly into the red. I believe that OBS has an inbuilt compressor that stops it from going too far. So there's that. Excuse me, I'm just going to have a little drink. Anyway, so that is monitoring your audio in real time. So you can see me talking and you can see the meters go into the red. Sorry if you're wearing headphones. Right, so the next one along is our scene transitions. So if you're running a multicam, and I'll demonstrate this later, you can set up how fast or slow it will transition and the type of transition. So you can import different types of transitions like star wipes, slides, up, whatever. But I just like the simple fade, works great. Moving across here, you've got your controls. So currently I'm streaming, so you can see, you can't see. So I have to move that over. Display capture. Right, so we're here on the right, far right-hand side. So you click, it's got start and stop streaming, start and stop recording. You can do both at once. Your computer, unless you've got a really crappy computer, you can do both. So you can go live, but you can also record it so you can go and do some post-editing later. You've got studio mode, which will give you 2 work flows. So you'll have a screen, hold on, you have a screen on this side and a screen on that side, and you'll be able to work in one while the other one gets sent live. I prefer this setup. It's just easier. It's what I've learnt on. All right, and now the most important thing. So you've got your audio coming in, you've got your video coming in. Now all of my video is connected via cables, okay, because the Wi-Fi is glitchy, they fail, the app closes a lot, the NDI app just will shut for no reason. It will also shut OBS. So all of my cameras are connected via cable. This is a 2-meter Apple Lightning. I've got the standard charge cable on this one, so it's only 1 meter long. And on the GoPro, the fake GoPro, I've got a 3-meter mini USB. So I haven't had any problems with those dropping out ever. All right. Let's, wait, I'm just going to minimize this so you're not getting that infinite display. All right, so now we've got the audio and we've got the video connected. The next thing we need to do is set everything up. So feel free to message me if you want screen cap. I can take some screenshots of this, or you can take some screenshots. So general, usually there's a wizard and we'll set up most of these things for you, but all of the homework I did, I went more into it a little bit deep. So general, I really didn't have to change too much in general. I just left everything how it is. Okay, so you go to stream, and here is the important things for Facebook. So I'm currently streaming, so I can't show you the settings, but I select custom service, and then on Facebook, which I'll be able to show you if I minimize this, I can probably, not while the settings, so we'll get to that. You'll get a server and you'll get a stream key. They need to be entered into there in order to then OBS to send to Facebook Live. Okay, it sounds complicated. It's really not. Facebook gives you all of those links and you just copy and paste them in. I'll show you them once we're done. All right, now we're moving on to the output. And, oh, okay. So much learning. So much learning here. It hasn't caught up yet, but it will. No, that's not like, that's just me. Oh, okay. All right. Let's move this down. Okay, so go back to general. Don't have to touch anything in general. Moving to the stream, in case you couldn't see that in the window. Service is custom. Select custom. Input the server that Facebook gives you, which I'll show you later, and copy and paste the stream key in. All right, output. This is where we start to get into a few different things. So for streaming, you're going to go audio track 1. The encoder is the X264 is the encoder that's in your computer. So I just leave it on that. I don't have any sort of external or an upgraded sound card. So if you do have some U-Butte sound card, then select the encoder from that. It'll take the pressure off your CPU. Enforce streaming service encoder settings. Well, we're pretty much going to set it to that anyway, but you can do that. I haven't noticed anything with that. Haven't noticed any difference. And I'd leave rescale output out because we're going to set those settings somewhere else. So none of these really need to change except bitrate. Okay, so bitrate is really important. Facebook will take a maximum of 4,000 kilobytes per second. So if you go any more than that, you're going to be trying to send more to Facebook than it will take, and you'll get video compression. So just keep that at 3,500. Haven't had any problems. You could take it up to 4,000 if you have a really fast internet speed. If you're on 40, NBN 40 or something like that, you could take it up to 4,000. This is specifically for Facebook. If you go into YouTube, you can use much higher bit rates. Keyframe intervals is something that Facebook wants to see. Auto is on 0. I had a bit of problems with dropouts with it on 0. And from the homework that I did, they said to set it to 2. Facebook wants to see it every 2 seconds. And your CPU usage, I set that to super fast. I don't have the fastest computer. So the slower your computer, the faster setting you want it at. If you've got a super fast computer, you don't need to set them at those rates. You can bring it down a little bit slower. But from what I was told by my computer, set it at super fast. Right, if you're going to record as well, these are just the options for recording. So you can choose your recording format. It can be MKV, whatever. MP4 seems to be the best for me. That just makes it simple across all platforms that accepts it. Again, rescale output, 720 DPI is all Facebook can do anyway. So set it to 720. 720, yeah, P, not DPI. So 720p, it won't take any more than that. All right, so again, bitrate, I'm just keeping it the same as Facebook in case I want to upload it later, because you can stream a pre-recorded thing live to Facebook. So that just gives me Facebook's settings. Right, over to audio. Now, track 1 is what it's sending, the audio. So track 1 apparently is your recording audio track. You can set these. Facebook wants to see 160. I've recently upgraded this to 160, but 160 is what it wants to see. So just set these. You can set them both to 160 or 128. It really makes no difference. And replay buffer, you don't have to worry about that. All right, going into the audio. Again, Facebook wants to see 48 kilohertz. So set it to 48, not 44.1, not 96. Just set it to 48. That's what Facebook wants to see. There'll be no audio compression then. Facebook wants to do this phasing, flanging thing. This gets rid of that. You're just sending it what it wants to see. And stereo. Hey, if you want mono, you'll get better audio quality because it will send 44 kilohertz split in half. So you're going to get 24 kilohertz to the left and 24 to the right. If you go mono, you'll get 48 kilohertz mono straight down the middle. So you'll get better audio quality, but you may want that stereo field, which is what I want. So because I pan the toms, and I know people are going to be listening with headphones, and I want that experience to be the best that it can be. Everything else is disabled in here, except my monitoring device, again, is being selected as that Focusrite Scarlett. Right, video. If I'm going too fast, we can come back to it in the Q&A. Once I finish with these settings, I'll check out your questions, and we'll sort of, every little segment will break up with those questions relating to anything I've seen. So your base canvas resolution, the top one is the one that you see, okay? So that's for your monitoring. I've got a 27-inch Mac here, and its resolution is 1080p. So I set it to 1080p, but the output, this is where you want to send the output. So as I said before, Facebook wants to see 720p. So you can't really send any more than that. If you're sending it to YouTube or Twitch or anything like that, then just find out what they want to see. You can go 4K to YouTube if you have more than 1,000 subscribers. But Facebook wants to see 720p. So 720p, set it to that. And then just leave everything. And the last one, in the downscale filter, just leave that. And the final setting that you need is the common frames. Facebook, again, will work best at 30 frames per second. So send it at 30 frames per second. You'll get less video compression, less jumpy. If you can set all your cameras to 30 frames per second too, that's great. The computer's then not doing any video compression. So really what you're trying to do is send the perfect signal to Facebook so it doesn't mess with anything. We've all heard those sucky kind of compressed sounds where the vocal and the guitar's fighting each other to get out. So this sort of prevents all of that. Okay, the next thing, and we'll come back to hotkeys because this is related to my camera switching. And in advanced, just take a quick look at my advanced settings. Again, I don't think I've really changed anything in here. They're just as set by OBS. All right, so I'm going to go out of here. I'm going to turn off the display capture, and I'm just going to look at a few of your questions and see if I can go back to anything. God damn. All right. Let's see. The OBS app on the phone is $24. Can that stream live direct from your phone? Do you know? I don't own any cameras. Licia, you can use your phone as the camera. I don't know if you saw that being demonstrated. But if you connect the phone to OBS in the computer, in your laptop, you will be able to then use the NDI HX app to send to your laptop or computer. Then you can use the phone as your camera. You don't need a camera. So that's what I'm using. I'm using an iPhone 10 and an iPhone 6 for two of my cameras. I'm using the iSight here, and I'm using a crappy GoPro. So, yeah, use cables. That's it, Jay. Hope this isn't a silly... All right, so the cameras, Licia, are plugged into the USBs in the back of the computer. So I've got 4 USBs. So one is the sound card, and 3 are the cameras connected via the Apple cables or the mini USBs. I hope that answers your question. So, yeah, they're all being run into there, and then they're being mixed in OBS. If you go in Studio View, you'll lose the infinite view. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't really have time to mess around with that, but I thought I'd cover it up. You are limited by the cable length. So as I said, I've got a 2-meter Apple one here, which are about $40, something like that. I got a 3-meter mini USB, which is pretty good. That can, when you're in a small space, most of us are broadcasting from small spaces. I'm in about a 5 by 4 space. So it works. And you can zoom too, you can zoom in. You don't need to worry about the camera. The iPhones have pretty good zooms, and the Samsungs do as well. All right. That answers those questions. Thanks for the tip, Michael. Yes, Michael's saying that if you go into Studio View, you can get rid of the infinite view. All right. Then you don't get all those cascading windows that you saw with mine. All right. Next, let me look at video capture, the cameras, audio capture. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go back to the infinite display. Right. doodle. Navigating my way around here. Sorry, guys. Where is my display capture? Need to get rid of that camera. All right. Right, I hope you can see this. I'll just go out of this and I'll stretch my screen back over. Sorry, guys and girls. Right. Now, delay settings. No, we don't need that. Right, so the delay settings, which you're going to see, are in our audio settings. So right here, right? So you're going to click on that. You're going to go to Advanced Properties. So here are your settings for your offset. Now, I didn't offset anything today because I was just going live. But if you've got a camera out of sync, so you're hearing before you're seeing your mouth move, here you can set up your audio off sync. Now, I've had best results with between 300 milliseconds and 400 milliseconds. So if you set your audio capture to 350, do a test. You can test by either here, start recording and go back and watch it on QuickTime, or you can stream privately to your page and then view it and see what it looks like. So you can just set your settings on Facebook private, and we'll get to those too. We'll get to all that when we go live. So 350 milliseconds. Now my GoPro ripoff by 8man here has a deadly sync. Like, it's horrible. It's probably 500 milliseconds, maybe more. But all the phones and the eyesight that you're getting me here, the sync is quite good. So I have to find a happy medium where I'm not completely out like all of them. So I found that 300 to 400 has been a good spot. So there you can do that. You've got your audio monitoring here. So you can monitor your output through your sound card, or it's just off. I prefer it off because then I don't forget that it's on when I go live, and I can create a feedback loop through my studio monitors. So that's the audio delay settings. All right, so now we're going to get into scenes. So if I show you my scenes at the moment, I'm going to turn off the share. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to leave that there. Right, so within my scene, I have the multiple cameras. I have my text overlay here, and I have my audio in. Right, so within one scene, I'm just doing all of this. Now, within those scenes, you can turn things on and off. So if I want to now show you the full screen camera, here I am, full screen, warts and all, no makeup, whatever. So, okay. So I can turn that off and go back to the screen monitoring. Then I can pull up just by these little eyes, turning them on and off, I can show you my other cameras, okay? These can all be set in separate scenes if you want. So every camera, and I'll show you my live stream setup, how it's all different cameras. But essentially, you're just going to add a scene for each camera. So if you want the iPhone, if I want this on a different scene, I just set up new scene, scene 2. I go back there. But scene 2, that's how I'd create another scene. But I haven't got the audio set up in there. I haven't got any video set up in there. So I don't really need scene 2. Let's turn off that. And let's turn off this. Right, so setting up scenes is great for being able to set up. For me, it took a little bit of that audio sync away. So that's why I set up separate scenes. It also enabled me to seamlessly go from a title screen, be ready to go and click on a camera. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to show you my live stream scenes, transitions. So if I go up to scene collection, hold on. I'm going to switch now to the duo scene that we did yesterday. Right. So I'm going to go for a walk. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. Right. I'm going to move this camera. All right. So you can see me here. So down on the floor, I have got a little foot switch. Now I'm going to attempt to switch to the camera. All right. Hey, that worked. All right. So this is the iPhone 6 just here. Down on the floor. So this is my camera switcher, okay? It's a MIDI based 4-channel. It's an amplifier switcher essentially. Okay, get this right. Okay? So what I'm doing with that, I'm yelling again, sorry. So what I'm doing with that is for each one of these I've got a hotkey programmed, and I'll show you what that is once I demonstrate the foot switch. So here's the camera. That's this one over there. That's the iPhone 10. And then this switch is the eyesight. That switch is this phone, which is showing you my feet. And then I got the GoPro. Okay, so while I'm playing, I could just switch between any and all of these cameras. I'm yelling again, sorry. And in real time, basically. All right? So that MIDI is being fed into my sound card. This is a bit more complicated. I'm sure I'll lose a few people if I get into that in detail. But just suffice to say, there's a MIDI in on the back of my sound card, which is running this, and I'm running a couple of little bits of software. I'm going to come back to the computer now. Hold on. I'm going to get out of this scene. I'm going to go back to my Q&A scene. All right, we are back. So I hope that demonstrated. I'll just see if there's any questions from anybody regarding that. Laptop can move though. Yes, laptop can move. Type down the phone app that you use. Okay, I'm just going to put it here. The NDI-HX is free. And NDI Cam is $15. Okay. So the answers, I need a MIDI switcher. Yeah. That MIDI switcher, by the way, was $40. $40. Pretty good buy. So maybe you can find it. It's a Randall one. I got it on eBay. So from a music store in Australia that had stock. So that was good. That was wonderful. Right. So I think that covers the switching. But one thing I will show you is these little programs that capture. So I'm just going to show you the display capture again. Take off the full screen. I'm going to get infinite again. Right. I hope that's answering all your questions. Cool. I've still got 10 people here. I started with 11. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. All right. So the first, I'm just going to quickly do the MIDI switching stuff because it's really quite interesting. Here is, covering my face, this is the MIDI capture, right? So if I go back over to the, just lift this up. So I go back over to the switcher. When I press channel 1, it gives you the what it's sending. All right, there's all the MIDI information. Now, that won't mean much, and it actually didn't mean much to me because it ended up being wrong. But if you've got a keyboard, like a piano keyboard or any other MIDI device, a pedal that can send MIDI messages, then you can capture what channels, what data it's sending via this little program. And it is called, I'll tell you, it's called Midi Monitor. Okay, so that's it there. I think hopefully you can see that, Midi Monitor. All right, the other one that you need for it to allow it to talk to your computer is MIDI pipe. So if you see this MIDI pipe, what you need to do is capture the MIDI in, which is my sound card, and then you just need to write some code. Right, I found a great video on YouTube. I've got the code. If anybody wants the code, just message me and I will send it to you. All you need to do is change the numbers here to the corresponding MIDI map numbers for whatever you're using to switch. But that's basically the code. I don't code. I just copied what the guy was doing and made it work for me. So MIDI pipe, that's the one that talks to the computer. The last piece of the puzzle with that was getting Apple to allow those programs through. So make sure you check your privacy settings and allow MIDI pipe access to the computer. Right. So the next thing is the hotkeys. Okay, so within that code, you are basically telling the operating system of Apple, you're telling it every time you hit a switch that it corresponds with a keystroke on your keyboard. So on your physical, keyboard, it is sending the message to Apple, to your operating system, that when you hit channel 1 or channel 2 or channel 3 or channel 4, you're mapping it to a keystroke. So what you want to do is you want to set up those keystrokes and you want them to not be obvious. So it's something that you're not going to hit by accident while you're live streaming. So I used the Option and the Control keys as well as a letter. So you'll see up here I've got number one and number 0 on the keyboard are my start and stop recording hotkeys. So these are shortcuts. So that if for anyone who doesn't know what a hotkey is, it's a shortcut. So it stops you from having to navigate with your mouse to every single control. It just gives you a shortcut to it. So if I want to start recording and stop recording while I'm standing over there, nowhere near my computer, then I can do that by taking the wireless keyboard over there with me and just hit start and stop record. So that's how I do my testing. And if I'm having a good stream, then I can just press record after I'm comfortable. Right. So here we are with the captures. Okay. So these are all my capture displays. So show display. So the one you're seeing now, I have a shortcut on my keyboard that is Control B will show it and Option B will get rid of it. Now I've been doing it by the mouse while we've been doing this live stream. So, haven't quite got them in my head yet. Show the iPhone XR. So while the settings are on, I can't do that, but I will show you how that works. Show the GoPro, show the iPhone 6, and then show my full screen camera. So as you can see there, I don't need to turn them on and off because the foot switch is just sending to switch the scenes. So on this setup, I've got them switching separate cameras within one scene. In my live stream that I showed you before, then I can go back to that. Then I've got them switching individual scenes. I hope that makes sense. If you, let's see if I can demonstrate it on this scene. So that's going to bring up that camera. That's going to bring up that one. That's going to bring up that one. Okay. So, yeah, it's a really kind of cool setup that I managed to come, and all for like $40. All of those MIDI implementations, they're all free. They're all little free. Let's get rid of these. Lost me. All right, back to this. So they're all free. And this, you can see so many things you can set up hotkeys through. So a little shortcut I found was, rather than start and stop streaming on and wasting a foot switch on that, I just have a title screen, and then I switch to my first camera, which then comes up and shows me. Enables you to have a title screen before you start, a countdown, all those sorts of things, ticker. And then when you're ready to go live, you're standing in front of the microphone, sound checked, ready to go. I just hit number 1 on that foot switch, and bang, I'm live. I'm ready to go. All right, I'm going to turn the display capture off now. All right, let's check in, see if we've got if there's any more questions regarding that. Oh yeah, so because MIDI in it's a 5-pin. So MIDI is 5-pin, right? But that foot switch requires 7-pin because it's powered. I just used a power supply on it. Let's see if I can do. So there's a power supply and the MIDI cable. But in order to use that long MIDI cable, it was a 5 or 6 meter MIDI cable, and plug it into my sound card, I needed to cut the 2 power pins off. So it's 7 on this end, and it's 5 on the end of my sound card. Hope that makes sense. And then I have to power it with a wall wart because the sound card doesn't do powered MIDI. So if you don't understand that, I'm happy to explain that as well. But yeah, totally MacGyvered. Can you come down and set? Hey, Nick, I would love to do that, mate, but I'm still only allowed to drive 50 kilometers. Yeah. So it's just trial and error. With these things with me, I kind of get an idea in my head and go from there. Just having a look. What's happening here? Any other questions? Just going to check the other pages. Looks like there's some comments there. All right. Right, moving on. Oh, I just need a drink. Hold on, folks. MacGyver. I'm just, Licia, I'm just streaming to Facebook because that's where my audience is. Trying to get everybody with likes on the Living in the 70s page upwards of 3,500 or close enough to 3,500 to get them to migrate over to YouTube might be difficult. With free OBS, you can only stream to one place at a time. So I just chose Facebook because that's where my audience is, and I just wanted to maintain them and pay them back for the support. So yeah, just Facebook for now. We'll see. I see that you're doing Twitch. I'd like to talk to you about that at some stage, how that's been going. There's a real community at Twitch, and they tend to pay for content. So that's quite interesting that there is that culture over on Twitch for paying. And it's gamers primarily on Twitch. So, yeah. All right, we're going to move on now. So some of you, there's a lot of streams out there that do countdowns before it starts. So they're just overlays, which you can import. You can make them yourself. This is an example of an overlay. I basically just in Photoshop created this. And then you can see, if I go back to my display capture and take this full screen away, And take that one away. All right. So you can see that there's an image here. When you click on, that's the image, and that's just overlaying on the screen. Hope that's not freaking everybody out. But yeah, that's pretty much all it is. It's a Photoshop. It's a JPEG. I'm sure you can do GIFs. You can do whatever. There's ones you can just search, and there'll be plenty of them in there. I know that with StreamYard OBS, there are included ones. Really, there's some great things over there, but I'm just waiting for the glitching. All right, so let me just check my notes here. We're almost through everything. Go back to full screen here. Bumper up. All right. So the final thing, I'm just going to check my note. Look, see, old school, pen and paper. So we covered the signal chain. Vocals. Look, I'm using a Beta 58 most of the time. I did switch and use my old 55 cage mic, which I could probably get in the shot. There, you can see that. I started using that when I'm not using the talk box. I haven't been using the talk box that much on these live streams, so I just switched to the cage mic. Editing. The last thing I will talk about is editing. No, I'm going to take you through Facebook because I didn't even do that yet. How is my form? Okay, so once you have got everything together in OBS, you've got your audio coming in, you've got your video coming in, you've got your camera switching if that's what you're doing, or you just got your single cam. Move this camera out of the way. All right, so once you've got all those things coming in, you've got your audio input coming in. I would say that you want your audio input it's got to be going into the red, okay? Otherwise, it's just too quiet. And if you've got people at home just listening on their phone or their tablet or even on their smart TVs or whatever, you want to try and give them the best quality sound. So for me, that's been the most important thing, which is why I've got that whole signal chain happening. So do that. The audio capture, let me just go back to this so you can see that. Right. So this thing here, just get it. You want it right. You want it to be getting somewhere around there. See where it's getting? Oh, that's too far. Okay. So you want it to be into the red, but not so far as that it turns the whole thing red. Okay. You're going to get your hottest signal. You're not going to get Facebook messing with it, any of that stuff. Okay. So now I'm going to move this here so you can see this. Hopefully. All right. Now, once you've got everything in place, this is where we go live. Okay, so you want Facebook live. So Facebook /live/producer. Okay. And you're going to get this screen. Now, when you click start streaming in OBS, which is here, it says stop streaming because I'm currently streaming. But when you do that, you're going to get a preview window here. So if I go to where I'm streaming live now, you will see there's my preview window. You can watch it live from there too if you want. I tend to want to monitor everything in OBS. Okay, so once we're in here, I'll take you back to this because this is the fresh window. Starting on the left-hand side, you can schedule when you're going to go live or just go live now. Scheduling live just means that if you're standing back here and you want to be ready to go when it goes live, you can set it for 2 minutes away and then it will just go live when you're there. Some of you know that already. Now, this is where you're going to post to, okay? You can share to your timeline, to a page you manage, or to a group. On the page, we'll go through the page options because most of you guys are going to be streaming to your music pages. Now, you can stream to any of these pages, right? I mostly go to my Living in the 70s, but sometimes I go to Rob Rhodes Music and Musicians In for my little Friday musicians talk shows. When you do that, it's always good to put a video title in. People want to see what it is, so put a title in there and say something about the video because it helps Facebook's analytics. It'll put you in, it'll pick those things up, okay, and you'll be seen more. You can also cross-post. So if you've got more pages, you can see I've got a few more pages. You can, send it to all of them. What have you got to lose? But anyway, it spreads your viewers and you may not be able to see all of the content. Okay, so a good little trick is if you're going to your timeline, you want to work out what it looks like and what it sounds like beforehand. Here. Only me. Tick that box. Okay? So you can share it to your page. You can record a song or two, then go back, listen through your studio monitors, listen through your headphones, through your smartphone, do all your little tweaks, and nobody sees it. You can go back and delete it later. But once it's right, then all you need to do is once all the things are in, then you go live. So we looked at the settings before in the stream box of OBS. So I'll quickly take you back there just to refresh your memory. So stream, here. Service, you want custom. And then you got your server and your stream key. So here's both of those things. So there's your server. Hold on, I need a drink. Copy that, paste it in. Stream key, copy that, paste it in. Once those are pasted in, this go live, you can see that, this go live button will go blue or red or whatever color it is. I can't remember right now, but it will go live. You can monitor everything from here, and this is where the comments, as I'll show you here, I can see the comments, okay? So this enables you to monitor the video that it's sending to Facebook, although there will be the lag, so that could be off-putting to you, I don't know. But it also monitor all of the comments coming in. So get in there, and that's where I monitor all my comments. It's where I monitor the video to make sure that it's live and it's streaming from there. Okay, so we've gone live, we've done our thing, we end the live video, and then you want to go in and edit. Say, for instance, you took a little bit to get going, you were interacting with the audience, whatever, you were answering specific things, and you don't want that. You may want it, but say, for instance, 2 days later, someone comes in and you just want them to press play and the music starts. Right, so I'm going to show you how to do some post-editing in Facebook. So I'm going to go to I'm just going to go to my Living in the 70s page. Actually, let's go to Musicians In. Okay, so I've been doing this little musicians chat show the last couple of weeks. This week we're doing starting a band. So if you're interested how to start a band from the scratch, from picking band members to rehearsals to getting your product to an agent and booking gigs, tune into that one. All right, I'm going to go to Living in the 70s now. And yeah, so Musicians In, check that out. Internet. Okay. So I'm going to go to my videos page and I'm going to pull up the last stream that we did. So Sunday's stream. Look at those attractive guys. All right. Up here you got 3 little red dots. I hope you can all see that. 3 little red dots. Click on the 3 little red dots. Edit video. Now, there's some really cool stuff here because you can put tags in, again, so that more people can find your video, but you can edit the title, you can edit the description, all those things. You can tag people, check in a, in a venue when we're back there. You can also edit the thumbnail. So say I want to change the thumbnail from that poster. I want people to see our faces. Then it gives me all these options. So I can change the thumbnail to that, or any of these options that it gives me, the black and white. So I'm going to change that. Or you can upload a custom image or choose a still frame from the video. All right, and you get all these little options. Video clipping, it's kind of cool. You can take segments out of your live stream and do a single video. If you thought one song went really great and you want people to see it and you want to share it just on its own, you can do that. You can take them out. But do that before you do any other editing of the video because it's dependent on the original timeline. So if you go to all the trouble, which I have, to find the song, the beginning and the end, and trim it, and then upload it, it will be on the original timeline, so it'll be nowhere near where it was, especially if you cut 11 minutes out at the start because you had a countdown. All right, so what you want is video trimming. Okay, in video trimming, I've already done it on this one, but you can move this across to where it started. So we had a title screen for about 8 minutes telling people, it was starting at 3 o'clock. And then we had a little chatter at the start. But I took all that out. I took the title screen out so that when, as I mentioned before, if someone comes back to view your video, you got to get them that first 30 seconds. So you want the hi, where, whoever, or this is our first song, bang, launch into it. Because they might only stay there for 10 seconds. They might only stay there for 3. But get them engaged, engage them. So if you've got a title screen, take it out. This is only pertinent if it's on your music page. If you're posting on your personal page, you cannot trim the start. Just be aware of that. But as you can see from here, I've trimmed it already. All of this was the title screen. It's now gone. So I'm going to click save and it's going to give me a new thumbnail. But you'll see when I start this, we're a little late, but we just had to get a few things sorted. And it's right at the start. Okay, sorry for the feedback. That's what happens when you monitor live like this. All right, I'm just going to check in with some of your questions. So different on Twitch. So using what I have, I could use my iPhone. This is Licia's question. My mum's iPhone and the laptop camera, and then use my little M Audio keyboard as a USB through. Yeah, anything that can be used as a audio interface you can use, Licia. Yeah, Midi. It needs to be. Yeah, you can. If you can. So here, this might help you. Apple has audio devices and MIDI devices that you can program inside. So if you go into you're going to see the no, it's all right. Anyway, if you go into audio MIDI devices in Apple, you can select MIDI in there. Apogee, MIDI, it's probably to switch between cameras in OBS. I would just need to buy some cables for the phones, get that app you wrote down. Yeah. So all of those things. Yep. So I'm the same. The Focusrite needs to go into the red to send the audio, and then into the red. Also does using an audio interface use slightly more bandwidth than just a mic off. Okay, this is a great question because I have done a couple of different streams. I did some late night ones where I plugged my guitar and my vocal mic straight into the audio interface and went live to Facebook, not through OBS. And it was horrible, absolutely horrible. I got all of the Facebook compression. The video was pixelated. Something that OBS does, and all of these programs, and that's why they're there, is they ready your stream perfectly for the platform that you're going onto. So whether that's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, IGTV, it's just preparing it to go in like it should and what it wants to see and hear. So when you go live, I don't, if you see anyone that goes live direct into the sound cards and from things, you just get you just got that sucking of the compression and the video pixelated and drop frames and all kinds of things. So I would really recommend that you go through these programs to get the best result, because that's what you want. All this stuff's getting archived. When we come out of this, we all want the best quality stuff out there. We're going to have a massive archive of performances and these little chat things, and people can come back to them anytime. And you really just want them to sound their best. I know when I started, I'm going to get rid of this stuff now. Display capture. When I started, I just had my single iPhone picking up the audio in the room. It was just the speakers that I showed you before, and they were going plugged directly into. I'm going to try and show you that. I'm going to set this camera up for. Let's see what this camera looks like. So all I really had was those pointed at my iPhone, which is what most of us are still doing that. A lot of the ones that you're seeing is someone just playing in front of their phone with a speaker, a busker speaker or one of those powered style ones, or through an amp. And it can sound great. Early on, I was really down on myself once I got to this point. I went, why didn't I do this before? And so I went back and listened, and they weren't all that bad. But it's about what you're sending it, and don't beat yourself up over it. But we should be getting better, and then we want the most recent stuff that's on our pages to be the best, because that's what people are going to see when we've got the potential to pick up new customers, new clients, new venues. Let's make the last 3 or 4 videos that you've got when you send them to the page or your YouTube the best ones. So that's kind of was my motivation to do this help video today. It's just to help everyone get the best out of what they've got. Like, I haven't really spent a lot of money. If you want to talk about what I've spent, I spent $70 on some cables, the 2 meter Apple one, the 3 meter mini USB. I spent $15 on the NDI app, $40 on the foot switch. Pretty much that's it. I'm lucky I had a PA. I've got lighting, but you can do lighting cheap too. And those little audio interfaces, $70, $79. You can buy a mixer that has a USB out. Behringer, Alto, all those little cheap mixers, Yamaha. You could go straight in if you haven't got that before. So all up, maybe I've spent $100, $150 to get up to, and if you haven't seen it, go check out my last couple, give you an idea of what I've done. And it hasn't been a huge outlay because we're not making money. We don't really have the ability to go. Thanks, Nick, mate. Thanks for stopping in. Nick's a great man. Used to own a music shop in Camden. I used to go in there quite often. I'm not sure I've still got anything that I bought because I turn it over so quick. All right, so I'm going to get a few questions that were asked before the live feed. So Ben Hughes asked about taking the audio from a DAW, so Pro Tools, Cubase, Logic, anything like that, and feeding that into OBS. So if you've got a Mac, go and look up a little piece of software called Soundflower. Essentially what they are pieces of loop back software. So OBS does not allow you to take the out audio of a sound card and feed it into it. So you need this virtual, what they call loop back, to loop the audio back in. So for Mac users, Soundflower, and then you just create a virtual loop back. There's a couple of YouTube videos that show you exactly how to set it up. I don't use it because, as I said, I'm going from the mixer in. I'm not using a DAW. But yeah, check out Soundflower for Mac users, and Voice Meter, which is meter is spelt MEETER, and that's for PC. So Voice Meter for PC. So yeah, Voice Meter, VOICEMEETER. And again, there's some great YouTube videos on that. I hope that answers your question, Ben. I know a few guys that are doing it out of Pro Tools. David Aegis, he's doing it. We spoke to him the other night on the Musicians In. And then I had a question from Rico Whitehead about connecting the smartphone. He said the iRigs. Yep, I showed those earlier in the video. Go back, check out. There's the iRig, the Zoom one, and the Rode. Plenty of videos and plenty of help as far as that goes. So if you've got any questions, now's the time to jump on and ask. There's only 8 of you there, but I think that sort of sums up. That's all my notes. And I think I've answered the questions. One thing I will show you is filters. So if you've got a terrible camera, which my one is pretty terrible. Just going to see if there's any other questions here with anyone. Comments. No. Let's just double check here. Sorry guys, just checking for comments. Filters on poor cameras. So for instance, if I want comments. No, doesn't seem to be any comments here. Right, I'll go back to this. I'm going to display capture, and I'm going to get rid of that camera. Okay. So, let's take this camera that I'm on now, okay? Which is the camera that I've been doctoring the last 2 live streams, because it gets very kind of yuck. It's an old Mac. I think it's a 2012 or 2013. So the iSight cameras, they haven't really done much with them. So if I go to this Mac that's turned on, I am going to right click and I'm going to filter. Right. Now there's a whole bunch of filters here. You can do audio effects and video effects. I have cropped this camera. Without the crop, it looks like this. So it's more of a widescreen. But I just wanted to crop it into the small space. So you can do that. That's a great little trick. The other one you can do is color correction. Okay, so just name it whatever you want. But I just do color correction. And here you go. You can change gamma. I won't turn you into the Hulk. It's okay. Contrast. You know, you can get arty with it if you want. Make it a bit noir, film noir. Brightness, obviously, you know what that is. Just wash everything completely out. Dark. brooding, do a Trent Reznor clip, something like that. Saturation, you know what that does. Wow, acid trip, man. All right. The one that I like, or opacity. So you can overlay other cameras. So you've got two things happening. And then you got your hue shift. Okay. Like I'm having a disco with a mouse. Okay. Enough of that. Right. So you can just do all the color corrections, whatever you want. But if you want, hey, look, black and white. Black and white is timeless. It confused a few people on Sunday, but it just helped a poor camera. So once I did that, I'll close that. I added another filter, which was sharpen. Okay, so this is it, not sharp. This is it, completely sharp. So you get a little grainy, whatever. It looks a bit blurry because it's a terrible camera. But a little bit of sharp, you can see how it brings it out. Just brings it up that little bit. Gives you a bit more of a, better look. And then you can get it to match the other cameras a bit closer. The iPhones are way better. And then it's just as simple as, if you want to turn them off, just, there we go. And we're back to normal. So I think that kind of wraps everything up. I'm just going to double check for any more questions. If there isn't any more questions, I'm going to bid you farewell. I'm watching Rob. Cheers. Thanks, Paul. Do you have the best internet you can get? No. I do not have the best internet. I'm going to turn off this display capture now. We don't need that. And I'm going to go back to full display. Okay. Internet, no. We are on the second tier down NBN. So I think it's NBN 30 or something. Early on, I just used the Wi-Fi. There, my wife's answered the question. We're getting 20 megabytes. But yeah, we went and bought a long Ethernet cable. So it runs from inside the house out to this little studio room that we have, like an artist studio out here. So we did that, and I haven't had any problems. But before, when I was running Wi-Fi, it was very glitchy, lots of the picture freezing, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I hope that answers another one of your questions. I'm just going to double check that there isn't any more questions. Let's take a look. I really want to thank everyone who checked in. If you're watching this on replay, then feel free to ask me questions. I'll see them pop up and I'll answer them at a later date. I don't know where my video from the Pub With No Fear's gone. Oh no, there it is. So I did look at the feed. No comments there. Let's go to lockdown. For some reason, my video is not there either. I'll put it there later. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, phone here only does portrait. No. What phone do you have? And if you're going through a music page, let's have a look. iPad does landscape. Do you know why? Are you sending it from a music page? Because if it's from a music page and you're going through pages, or you're going through the Facebook app, or you're going through a Galaxy 9, are you using the Pages app Facebook pages, or are you using the Facebook app, or are you using like a browser? I'll just wait on that. Licia, just buy a 40-meter cable from Towns. I don't know what Towns is. What's Towns? Because I found that you could only do portrait when you're. Yep. So the Facebook app, you need to turn it before you go live though. So turn it on the side. I found that if you use the Pages app, so this is, I can't see. I got to use the other side. Let me just change my window. So I can see your question. Error. Okay. So if you're using the Pages, Facebook Pages app, you can only go portrait. You can't go landscape. Right? For some reason, they stopped it. But if you go from the Facebook app, you can turn it on its side. But you need to turn it on its side. You need to turn it that way before you go live. And make sure that it turns. And also make sure that, so you're on a Galaxy 9 because the Facebook, yeah. So go in, press go live, then turn the screen on the side before you press go live. That should do it. But once you press live, you can't turn it on its side. Apparently that's how it works. But I had a run around in Pages. It won't go into landscape. It'll only go portrait. So I go access. Not that I do it that way anymore, but when I did it direct to my phone, I just went through the Facebook app, clicked Pages from there, and then it would turn landscape. Hope that's the last of the questions. You're welcome. I'm just going to go back, and the Apogee is a great unit. I think that's everybody's questions. So I'm going to finish up. I think that's it. Thank you so much. If you've got any questions, as I said, hit me up later on. Put it in the comments. I'll get notified, and I'll do my best to answer it from there. But I think I've covered everything that needed to be covered. It was in my notes. That's it. Thanks very much. I hope you got something out of it, and I'll be back soon. Cheers. Have a great night. Bye.